Express 4x squared minus 12x in the form between brackets 2x plus a squared plus b. All right, we already solved a couple of questions about this before. So what do you need to know? You need to know that if you have a quadratic in which the coefficient of x squared is not 1, and the form of the completed square form that you have is something like this, then you have to look at this and look at what you have and realize that you can get this coefficient over here from here if you multiply it by 2, right? So if you want in this form, in this completed square form, then if you would expand these brackets, you already would have the 4x squared, but the number that comes next needs to be figured out looking at this number over here, the minus 12. So expanding this would be done how? Like always has been, you do 2 times this number, and you should have minus 12. So let's think. You already can see it over here, so you already know what it is. But what the mental process is, you need to figure out what is a number that multiplied by 2 times 2, which is 4, would give minus 12. So you already have 4, so the number missing there is minus 3. That's what you write over there. So again, 2 times minus 3 gives minus 12. Okay, you close brackets, you put the square, but then you have to remove this squared. All right, because if you would leave it like this, you would have 4x squared minus 12x plus 9. Well, you don't see there any 9, right? So you have to remove it yourself. Okay, and this is going to be your value of b. So a is minus 3, b is minus 9. Then you are asked to solve this inequality over here. I always solve inequalities the same way. First, I just leave the inequality in the form of the expression bigger or smaller to 0. So I leave 0 on the right-hand side. That's what I did over here. Okay. I know that this equals that. So I substitute it, and then after I push the 7 over there, I know that this is minus 16. And now I stop here in terms of the inequality, and I quickly transform this into an equation. This is a quadratic in which is already represented in completed square form, so it's very simple to solve. And I get these two values. I sketch a little line. I put the two numbers over there. I look at the form of the parabola that comes out of this. The coefficient of x squared is positive, so it will be something like that. And now that I have this, I go back to the inequality, and I look at what is being asked. I'm being asked, in mathematical terms, for what values of x is this expression, this quadratic, positive? Now that I have this little sketch, I know the answer. This quadratic is positive for any value of x that is smaller than minus 1/2 and bigger than 7/2. So that's what I put over there, and this is my final answer. Next question is on this paper. This is October, November 2007. Question 1. Determine the set of values of the constant k for which the line y equals 4x plus k does not intersect the curve y equals x squared. So any question that relates to the intersection of lines and curves, you can solve them in two ways, either putting simultaneous equations or equaling the y's. In this case, both expressions are in terms of y, so you can just equal this to this, and this equation would allow you to find any possible points of intersection. That's what I did. I don't know what I did, but yeah, here it is. All right, so I don't want them to be touching each other, so instead of equal, I put different from, okay? And here you have the expression that would allow you to calculate any any point of intersection. So I don't want them to touch. So you already know, we already talked about this in a previous lesson, that the discriminant that comes out of this quadratic needs to be smaller than 0. The discriminant again is b squared minus 4ac. b is minus 4, so minus 4 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is minus k, needs to be smaller than 0. I just solved this, and I have the final answer. For any value of k that is smaller than minus 4, this will never intercept that.